At first, the news of our investors' lack of appetite to put more cash into Jaxtr felt like a personal disappointment, but it didn't seem like an existential threat. After all, in the previous year, we had the good fortune to raise several $1 million in venture debt to bridge us to our next round of financing if we ever needed it. This allowed us to, naively, think we had enough runway to ride out what we thought would be the worst of the storm through Thanksgiving and Christmas. But when our lead investors informed us in January that they expected us to return the venture debt to our lenders, true panic took a firm grip. It didn't take a financial genius to realize that without dipping into that debt, we had at best only 6 months of cash left before our lights and servers would be turned off by PG&E. Taking a page from Entrepreneurship 101, we tried to use the sense of urgency as a motivational call to arms for the whole company and channeled the negative news into a positive outcome. Our new mantra became the proclamation by Rahm Emanuel after Barack Obama's 2008 electoral victory. A crisis is a terrible opportunity to waste. And this wasn't just motivational mumbo-jumbo. As an optimist, I was convinced deep in my heart that we could innovate our way out of this problem too. All we needed to do was shift our focus from growth toward improving our freemium conversion rates and find creative ways to reduce our burn rate. How hard could that be? It was all hands on deck, and at first, everyone felt a new burst of energy as we pushed out new releases at a faster pace than ever. We accelerated our release cycles, and within a few weeks, we even managed to launch a new product that we considered a revolutionary step forward for global communications, one that promised to bring free worldwide calling to every mobile phone, even without an internet connection. Back in 2008, less than 25% of the U.S. population had smartphones with broadband connectivity. But product innovation is less serendipity and more iteration, where through a painstaking process of A/B tests, you gradually tune the product for the right user experience and metrics. In particular, we needed time to run tests and experiments to optimize the monetization funnel. Meanwhile, the clock seemed stubbornly determined to tick at a faster pace every day. Weeks quickly gave way to months. Despite the team's extraordinary efforts, we could not achieve that magical user experience that would convert sufficient numbers of our free users to paying users, which would at least have helped us cover our costs. The increasing stress of the ever louder ticking clock and the pressure to innovate started to stifle our creativity and sap any remaining energy we had. Bugs were finding their way into the code when we could least afford them, including hide-under-the-covers embarrassing ones like when our app started routing calls to the wrong destinations all over the world. The cracks in team culture became more visible with each passing day as well. On one not-so-happy occasion, I found myself shouting at 2 of our developers for taking excessive ping-pong breaks, to my and their horror. That ping-pong table became such a painful reminder of a seemingly long-gone era that soon thereafter I folded it and shoved it into a walk-in closet that we had converted into our server room, another historic relic in its own right. And when our most critical engineer, who had architected the bulk of our platform infrastructure, handed in his resignation, we knew we had to face the inevitable. Either we would find a way to sell the company quickly, or see the efforts of the past 4 years disappear with our last TechCrunch coverage, if we were even lucky enough to get that esteemed eulogy. Against that backdrop, and with just 6 months of cash left in the bank, we kicked off 2009 with a strategy meeting, or perhaps more accurately described, a panicked huddle, around finding an exit option. Given our extremely constrained runway at that time, all we could do was come up with a list of potential acquirers and assign who would reach out to each company. We didn't have good contacts at most of them, so we frantically took to LinkedIn to find sources of warm introductions to these potential saviors. It took us a while to navigate the 2 or 3 degrees of separation to land those warm introductions, and while we waited, we kept burning our precious cash. As one would expect, we received